Battle of the Horns this past weekend between Texas and TCU. Shaka Smart gears up for another basketball season, and Tiger Woods makes a big statement. All this and more on College Crossfire.
I guess we'll get into it. Always enthusiastic, unbelievable, hard-nosed.
All right, let me explain why Aaron Judge is getting it. You can boo me all you want.
I knew Texas was going to win, right? And then one of the Texas team was going to lose.
Cannon. I don't like the cannon.
Wait, you don't like this guy? All right, I'm done.
This is all chaos.
Welcome into College Crossfire. I'm your host, Jonathan Polasek, and we've got a great show for you tonight. We welcome in 2 new rookies, as well as a UT celebrity. So you know what? Let's start with that UT celebrity, Ariea Bastami, the UT rapper. How's it going, Ariea?
Oh man, the boos are back, baby. Here we go. All is well. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you back on TSTV. It's been a while.
It has.
We got TSTV newcomer Zach Leff here. Zach, how you doing?
I'm ready. I'm excited, ready for first time, and I'm excited to win tonight.
Excited to win.
Yeah.
And another TSTV rookie, we've got Clark Dalton here. Clark, how you doing?
Great, having a fun freshman year. Hey, they're fashionable.
Cargos.
You know what? I'm glad to have all of you here on tonight, despite your cargo shorts. So let's dive right on in.
That's all I had. I got called in at the last
Texas
minute.
football beat 17th ranked TCU this past weekend, 31-16. It was a game that saw TCU up by 6 early in the third quarter, but was all Texas from there on. Again, the defense held up until the offense came alive. So what kind of statement did Texas make with this win? Let's start with Ariea.
You know, I was talking about it last week. I think the biggest thing for Sam, honestly, Ehlinger himself specifically, was the fact that he could beat his demons against USC, and that was a big victory for morale purposes because it was the name more so than it was the team itself, because obviously they weren't as good as they once were. And obviously you could say the same thing with TCU. They weren't the same team as they were last year. However, this was a team that not only was it a morale booster for Sam, of course, but the entire squad itself, because the past 3 years, Texas has gotten smacked silly by the Horned Frogs. So to see them come back in the way that they had, because just like USC in the first opening drive, they had scored, same with TCU, but to see the confidence in this defense, specifically in the second half, was amazing to me to watch them in Caden Stern specifically, and this guy's a freshman. I mean, he's playing like Earl Thomas or the next Caden Stearns, as you would say here in Texas. But I'm all in on the Texas boat, and they look great with this statement.
Yeah, Texas has looked phenomenal. That defense really stepped up. Caden Stern's going to be a star. Zach?
Yeah, Texas looked great so far. I mean, they played a TCU team, very tough. They had a tough loss against Ohio State, and they were ranked still. But they came in, and Texas, they showed their heart. They got a lot of motivation from that USC game. They came in, and they really showed that TCU was enough to handle, and they beat them convincingly with that 15-point victory. This is the way to start off the year in the Big 12 competition. They've struggled in the past couple of years in the Charlie Strong era in the Big 12 competition. So it's exciting that we get a win early, get to get confidence into some other games like the OU game, West Virginia, Oklahoma State. And you know what? On top of it being Big 12 statement, it was a national statement now, putting them back into the polls at 18, after a Maryland loss. It's nice to see them back in on the national spotlight, and they'll hope to ride this momentum into their next couple of games.
I agree. I mean, it's definitely, you look at this part of the schedule, it's supposed to be the toughest part of Texas' schedule all year long. Clark, what do you say?
Fine points, gentlemen. For me, the statement was you could see progress with Texas. We've been saying it all year. Is Texas back? And it didn't look like that at the beginning of the season. But what was important about this win is Texas showed they're here to stay in the Big 12. They're with the elite programs because TCU was ranked 17th. We know that. The offense was dynamic. Colin Johnson and little Jordan Humphrey had 201 yards combined. That's awesome. And Caden Stearns, he looks great. He looks like a senior already. He provides that necessary edge for the defense that they're going to need throughout the season. So this shows that this team is on the rise nationally and is to be reckoned with.
Yeah, Texas is definitely a force to be reckoned with, but I'm going with Ariea. I like the point he made about Sam just building that confidence. I mean, quelling those demons against USC because he had the late fumble that cost him the game. It cost UT a lot of games last year, but he's bounced back in a huge way. So, Ariea, you're getting the point to start us off. Let's move on.
I'm back, baby.
Texas basketball.
It's the shorts.
Shaka Smart enters his 4th season as head coach, and he's always been a great recruiter for the Longhorns, such as getting guys such as Jared Allen and Mo Bamba, but it hasn't always translated to postseason success. In fact, he has yet to win an NCAA tournament game, and entering year 4, does he need to win one in order to keep his job? Start with Zach.
Yeah, like you said, year 4, hasn't won a tournament game, 0-2. He needs to start getting Texas on track. We brought in Shaka Smart 4 years ago. really, the wonder kid, had great success at VCU, leading to a Final Four. He was supposed to make a not very tradition-rich program and make them into a powerhouse in the Longhorns, because we need that. We've had some great star players like Kevin Durant, but not a team. And as great as the recruits are, the one-and-dones, I think this year is his best team he's had in the 4 years. He's got a very senior-heavy team in the starting court. He's got some veterans, and then he has a great bench of young talent. I mean, with Texas, they need to play well this year, and when they get to the tournament, they have to be resilient and show that they're confident and they're a great team and ready to, make a run this year.
I think that depth that Shaka has now is going to make a big difference going into this year. Clark, what do you say?
I hate to say it because I like Shaka. He did lead VCU to the Final Four in 2011, but it's the hot seat for him this season. I hate to say it. Respect you very much, Shaka. Hope you do well this season. But here's the problem, is he's only accumulated a 50-50 record during his tenure at Texas, which is a little bit lower than Rick Barnes in his 17 years with the Longhorns. And it's not for a lack of talent with guys like Mo Bamba, Matt Coleman, and Jared Allen. So this is his hot seat season. But he is the number 8 recruiting class in the country. So I'm optimistic about the prospects.
Yeah, he really has struggled, but it's a new year. Maybe he turns it around in year 4. Aria?
All right, well, I was going to say he was on a sizzling hot seat, but these boys said it, so I'm going to be the contrary and say, you know what, Shaka? Seat's ice, baby. You're good. You're cool. I think the biggest thing for Shaka is just like what we had pointed out. The man can recruit very well. It's all about the culmination. And like you had said, you stop it, Goodman. I'm going right now. And just like the culmination of senior depth that they have and bench depth that they had with their recruiting class, obviously being 8th in the nation, I think that's the biggest thing that we have to look about. Can they come together accumulatively and not have a horrible, horrible loss like Andrew Jones last season, because they were an amazing team when they were playing with Jones, and you could see how much it was taken away from them when he was taken out. And, he's building himself back up to play again. And like we had said earlier with the senior depth, I think it's a culmination of everything and everyone playing together. So if they can get that, Shaka's cool, baby. He can recruit. He's good.
Yeah, if all that talent comes together, they can be really, really good and be a tough out this year. But you know what? I'm going with Zach. I think that senior leadership will really bring Texas. Maybe they won't knock off Kansas, but they may surprise some people in the Big 12 this year. So moving from the hardwood to the pitch, coming off a deep postseason run last year, Texas is off to an undefeated start this year. Players like Sierra Hinson and Katie Glenn have really powered this soccer team. So what are your expectations for this team going forward? Start with Clark.
I think the sky is the limit for this Texas team. They have a nice composition of underclassmen and upperclassmen. And generally when you see championship contenders like this, the upperclassmen bring that experience, but the underclassmen bring the fire. And that's really key once you get in tournament time. Also, the offense is potent with 26 goals in 10 games.
Yeah, honestly, this Texas team has just looked like unlike any other Texas team that I've seen in my time here. Ariea?
Yeah, I'm just going to say this. Coach Kelly, oh Canada, my Canada. The Ontario native is an absolute beast when it comes to coaching for these ladies. And all I'm going to say is this. Since 2007, that's a long time ago, we've had presidents come and go since 2007, ladies and gentlemen. We have not gotten to a Sweet 16, let alone in 2012 and 2014 under, oh Canada, my Canada, Miss Kelly's tenureship. They had gotten to a semifinal in the Big 12, which is a huge, huge deal for this team. Because Texas soccer, who talks about Texas soccer, but now we're talking about it because we can see how great they are. So I think the biggest key for Texas soccer, and yes, the sky is the limit, and why? It's because of their amazing coaching.
Yeah, their amazing coaching. They tied the 4th-ranked North Carolina team this year.
Yeah.
That's a big step because North Carolina is typically a powerhouse. So see them, Texas, go toe-to-toe with them. It's a big thing. Zach?
Yeah, all great points by these guys. I mean, Texas's team for the past couple years has been great. They had a similar start last year, going undefeated, heading into Big 12 play just like they are right now. And I mean, I think anything is possible with this team. They have great players in goal. Nicole Curry is fantastic. She has let up, per average in a game, less than 1 goal. It's incredible. Katie Glenn and the team, they are ready to go. I think a big thing about it this year, though, is they have to be ready when it comes to Big 12 tournament. Last year, not getting knocked off in the first round, that might have set them back in the NCAA tournament where they ended up struggling. So I think this year with the team, they need to just take this momentum that they've had so far, and the expectations are high. I mean, they're ready to go, and they have a big game this Friday against Oklahoma State, who's undefeated. And if they win that game, that could propel them into the season and, the finals could be in their future this year.
Yeah, Texas started out hot, but they really need to finish out hot during the regular season, going into Big 12 play, going into the NCAA tournament. But you know what? I'm going with Clark. He's getting the point here because it's that combination of young players plus senior leadership that's really going to power this team together. I mean, Sierra Henson, Katie Glenn, two really, really good players for this Texas team. So
They're awesome.
when we return, we're talking Tiger Woods and what's going on with Tom Brady and the Patriots. Stick around. Welcome back to College Crossfire. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. We've got Ariea with 1, Zach with 1, and Clark with 1. It's all tied up. So let's move on to Kentucky and Duke. When you think Kentucky and Duke, you typically go with basketball first. After all, they are powerhouses. But for the first time since 1957, both schools are ranked in the AP poll. To put that into perspective, the basketball programs have both been ranked 547 times since then. After seeing that, what's the biggest surprise in this newest AP poll? Start with Ariea.
I'm going to talk about, I wouldn't say really the biggest surprise because I would believe it would be Kentucky and Duke. I think the biggest thing to me that I was taken aback by was Texas Tech only being ranked 25. I understand they had a blemish against Mississippi, but Carter McClain, good Lord, this man can throw a football. They've been putting up, again, other than Mississippi, plus 40 points every game. Offensive juggernaut in Texas Tech. I cannot wait until November, until when they play Texas. But until then, Tech, y'all keep doing your thing, man. Keep throwing that because their offense looks amazing. And for them to only be ranked 25, come on now.
Yeah,
So
man.
that to me was the biggest thing.
It's a Cliff Kingsbury staple. High offense, high octane.
Very true.
Putting up points left and right. Zach, what do you say?
Yeah, but there's a lot of teams you could choose from here, but I think the biggest is definitely Kentucky. Kentucky, you know, like we said, traditional powerhouse in basketball, but what they're doing in football right now is really impressive. You know, you go against Florida, number 25 in the country, on the road, and you beat them, and then you go this past weekend against Mississippi State, a team who has a great quarterback in Nick Fitzgerald. I mean, and beat them. That was impressive. I mean, this running back, Benny Snell Jr., he is fantastic. He's a Heisman Watch candidate. He's right up there right now. The way he's running the ball, 7 touchdowns a game, it's great. I mean, their defense is motivated. They have let up less than, they have been around like 15 points on average defensively. So for overall, like, Kentucky's really impressed me. And I think in the SEC, you know, they're going to have a good time this year.
And like you said, they're playing in the SEC. That's the toughest conference in football.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who knows if they can keep it up? We'll see. Clark, what do you think?
For me, it's Kentucky, and I'm going to reiterate what Zach said. Because they're playing in the SEC, Kentucky's been the no offense to Kentucky, but they've been the doormat of the SEC for a long time. They hadn't beat Florida since 1985. Back to the Future was the #1 movie that year.
Oh.
You'll have to check on that, but it was definitely one of the top movies that year. And they didn't just beat Mississippi State, they were clearly the better team. They won 28-7. And Nick Fitzgerald, he's an NFL-type quarterback, maybe not a first rounder, but he's good. So the way Kentucky has played has showed that they're a team on the rise.
You know what, Clark? I'm going with you because they're beating these good teams. They're not beating necessarily these cupcakes. They're taking down Nick Fitzgerald, Florida, which, although there might be a little down, it's still Florida. So, Clark, we're going with you with a point for this to lead this off. So let's move on to Tom Brady and the Patriots. They were Super Bowl runners-up a year ago, and they look primed to get back there this year. Aside from their season-opening win against the Texans, the Patriots just haven't looked good. They've been mediocre on offense and defense, and as a result, the Dolphins are in first place in that division. So what's wrong with the Patriots?
What?
Zach, let's start with you.
I mean, I don't even know what to say about this. It is shocking. Growing up, you know, Patriots, they have been the team of this century. They are incredible. Bill Belichick, Tom Brady. I mean, the thing is that the Patriots right now, there's a lot of drama going on in the locker room. I think that we need to recognize behind the scenes. You have Tom Brady and Bill Belichick issues. Gronk's wanting to retire. Julian Edelman being suspended to start the year. It's this team right now, they need to start fixing it, but they have a great chance this weekend. They play the 3-0 Miami Dolphins at home, and if they beat the Miami Dolphins, who knows? Both teams could go in the opposite direction. Dolphins down, the Patriots could start rising, and next thing you know, the Patriots are back to first place where we expect them to be.
Back to first place, but, you know, maybe Tom Brady's just getting old. I mean, who knows? Clark, what do you think?
It's a combination of 2 factors. It's the Super Bowl hangover. Something similar actually happened to the Patriots last year because in the first game of the season, you'll remember, they lost to the Chiefs when Kareem Hunt went off for 243 yards, I think. And you had that general tension in the locker room from last year because Belichick still feels a little bit peeved with Brady because he feels like Jimmy Garoppolo was forced out of the building. And Belichick felt like that was kind of the future of the franchise and they were going to go in that direction. And now we know Tom's he's not physically deteriorating exactly, but he's not the same level of player. So it's a general incohesiveness in the locker room.
Yeah, those distractions plus just Tom getting older. I mean, it has to end at some point. Maybe we're seeing it start right now. Ariea?
Well, to talk about the Jimmy G thing, man, luckily they didn't buy into that one. Just, sorry San Francisco about that, y'all. But other than that, listen, I think everything is going to be fine with the New England Patriots. If they do one thing and one thing only, please start running the ball. I get it, Bill. You like to talk like this and doing a traditionalistic type of football. But please switch it up a little bit. James White is a beast. And if you don't want to give him the ball, fine. I think Brady is absolutely fine, and they have had quarrels. And if I were Gronk, you know what? If I wasn't going to have Tom Brady as my quarterback, shoot, I'd retire too, man. Don't even worry about it. But I'm just saying this, that at the end of the day, sometimes you got to play a little bit of bronze-knuckled football and run the ball down a team's throat. And I think that's what they need to do. Go back to a traditionalistic type of offense and just weather the storm. And as our friend Joel Embiid says, not our friend, I don't know him, trust in the process, ladies and gentlemen.
You know what, Ariea? I'm going to go with you getting the point because I think the Patriots, they are going to be fine this year. They do just need to start running the ball. They can't rely on the arm of a 41-year-old Tom Brady. I mean, as much as he can do, it just can't happen. Moving on to golf. Tiger Woods did it. He won a tournament after coming so close so many times recently. He's looked just about as good as he's ever been, and it showed during the Tour Championship. So, it's the question that Texas fans always hear. Is Tiger back? Clark, let's start with you.
No.
No.
Hang on. Here's why. Let me explain. Don't get me wrong.
That was quick.
Tiger looked great in the Tour Championship. He shot an 11 under, but that's not a major championship. What we're talking about when we say Tiger is back, it's the Masters, it's the US Open, it's the British Open. That's where we want him to deliver. And the same thing happened 5 years ago in 2013 where he won a tournament and he just disappeared. There hasn't been a large enough sample size for me to say, oh, he is back and he's clearly head and shoulders above premier golfers.
Well, you need a stepping stone.
No,
you have to be able to jump up to those,
Come on.
and these smaller tournaments can help him with those bigger tournaments. Ariea?
Listen,
Big time,
Rook,
though.
all right? Listen,
You have to deliver in the big
imagine that
time.
this polo was red and both of my arms are going up. Tiger, you're back, baby. I see you, boy. I think it's the demeanor in Tiger Woods' mind. This man is already at the Ryder Cup, putting in those swings prior to the thing even starting. He's ready to go. Someone ask Luke Hendry, call him on the phone right now and let him know. I believe it too, Luke. You and I are on the same boat. Tiger's back. I think he is. It's been 876 days of L's for this man, Tiger Woods. That's over 5 years, ladies and gentlemen. But he has finally gotten that chip off of his shoulder. And sometimes, just like every great basketball player, you need to airball and then make another one to get that confidence back in your mind. It's a mental game for Tiger. You can see the dominance there. You can see all the people following. Golf is energetic again. And I'm not a big golf guy, but let me tell you, when Tiger's got that red polo on, your boy's tuning in. So I think he's back.
He's got that killer mentality. Let's see if
sir.
they can keep it up with the Ryder Cup.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was all great points there. I mean, Tiger, I think first off we got to remember this is might be one of the best comebacks in sports for an athlete I've seen in a while. This guy had his issues. He was at top of his game all in the early 2000s, and you know what? There was a point in his career it just wasn't panning out, and to see him come back and win a tournament like this, granted it's not a Masters, it's not a PGA, and that's why I think Tiger's back to being a contender, not necessarily being back to being Tiger, but being a contender with Dustin Johnson, with Rory McIlroy, these guys. And you know what? Tiger's coming back. He's on the Ryder Cup team, which is impressive after being only a coach a couple years ago. You know what? Tiger, the red polo, everything, it's working. And I'm excited for 2019 because I think he's going to have a big year, all this motivation. And I think Tiger's right back there.
Yeah, he's definitely a contender now, and that's just giving him a chance. That gives him that confidence to go on. You know what, Zach? I'm giving you the point. Tiger, while he may not be all the way there, he is pretty darn close.
Yep.
So when we return, things are going to start to heat up. Rapid Fire's next. You won't want to miss it. Welcome back to College Crossfire. It's time for Rapid Fire, but first, let's remind everybody of the score. We've got everybody with 2 points, so it's anybody's game. Because in Rapid Fire, each question is worth 2 points, and you can jump in at any time. So the first question, what a sight to see spectators storming the green as Tiger Woods won the Tour Championship. It's not something you usually see in golf, so what other non-traditional sport should fans storm the surface for after a big win?
Tennis.
Tennis.
Could you imagine that at Wimbledon? If Serena Williams, she finally gets that Grand Slam, and they lift her up on their shoulders. It would be amazing. It would be an iconic image. It would be in Sports Illustrated, all over Twitter, and it would stick in your memory forever.
especially because tennis is so low key.
Yeah, tennis, whatever, whatever. NASCAR, baby, lift the car up. Are you kidding me? Get everybody in there, do a donut, and then get everyone to lift you? Dude, I would lose my mind. NASCAR is, look, I can't hate on NASCAR. I know everyone's going to kill me for saying this, but it's a bunch of left turns, y'all. And then when you're in New York, it's like the right turn. But if you can get people to rage, and you know a bunch of them are drunk anyways, they can lift the car up. Are you kidding me? I think NASCAR would be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go track and field. Imagine after the 100-yard, you're behind Usain Bolt, and he wins, and everybody, his whole country's just behind him, like running with him, having a great time, celebrating, lifting him up in the air. That would be fantastic. I mean, I would do that. If US won, I would hop right up, you know? Maybe at the stretch before, but we'll see about that.
You know, all that's a great answer, but I'm going with Ariea and NASCAR. That just has the potential to be something so crazy and so epic. It's just, it's something that I want to see. So let's move on to the NFL. There's so many rules in the NFL, but the most controversial new rule has to be the roughing the passer. In fact, Packers linebacker Clay Matthews has already been hit with 3 roughing the passer penalties in 3 games. So, for y'all, I want you to try to explain this new rule in as few words as possible.
Protect the quarterback at all costs. The NFL is a passing game. That's why they're doing this. Unfortunately, I do think they're being a little bit hard on Clay Matthews, though.
Protect quarterback.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers rule. Because last year, Aaron Rodgers, this is the reason why this rule's in play, because he got injured. Aaron Rodgers rule.
Run it back. Tony Romo rule. Tony Romo rule.
You know what? I'm going to go with Zach. It's honestly, it's the Aaron Rodgers rule. It's the reason it's put in place right now. So, Zach, you're getting the 2 points right now. It's the last rapid fire. Anybody can win. You know, I'm going to make this 3 points. So
Oh, no.
no. Texas Tech has a tradition where they throw tortillas at kickoff. And now, Tech is giving its students tortilla towels for their upcoming game against West Virginia. Tell me something that Texas should give away to its students on game day.
Round Rock Donuts. Let me explain why right now. Round Rock Donuts. It is a staple. It is a staple. Now, I understand it's in Round Rock, but it's close enough to Austin. People love Round Rock Donuts. Man versus food. They saw it there. You can give it to the UT students. Who's not going to have free food? Not only that, it's sugar. It's going to get you jacked up before a game. Come on now, y'all.
I'm going to go with Torchy's Tacos, actually, because it sort of plays on...
That's cost ineffective.
Exactly, it's a taco, but it's convenient to eat. You can have it right on your hand, and it doesn't get you too full, so you can have some other snacks during the game.
Donut?
So, I'm gonna go similar type, but Cabo Bob's for me. It's my favorite. It's my favorite place here. Everybody loves Cabo Bob's. You get a nice Cabo Bob's like tacos, man, or even a burrito. I mean, that's gonna fill up your stomach. You don't need to go back and get more food during the game. I mean, it's gonna be fantastic.
$4, $1. Come on.
Okay, first
So
off,
like
Cabo Bob's gonna be
5,000 calories.
$8.
Let's be real.
More.
And
$8.
Round Rock is just too far. So you know, I'm going with Torchy's Tacos.
No!
You're getting the points. You're winning. You win this mission.
I wouldn't FaceTime?
Yeah. Do we have time for FaceTime? We have plenty of time for FaceTime. So you, Clark, it's all you. It's all you.
So I wanted to talk about something I saw on my SI today. It was an article on Patrick Mahomes. For those of you who don't know, Patrick Mahomes has set a touchdown record for the most touchdowns to 3 games. Sorry, catching my breath a little bit from winning. Excited. But I've noticed something. No, I wasn't trying to diss on you guys. But I've noticed something in the NFL just recently. It's the proliferation of young quarterbacks. Think about it. Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Patrick Mahomes. Usually, rookies are supposed to struggle, but they're flourishing. Why is this? Well, it's a changing of the guard in the NFL. Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers are all getting older, which means somebody has to rise to the podium. That's what we're seeing right now. And it's not just in the NFL, it's across all sports. Ben Simmons and LeBron James. So you might as well enjoy it because we're about to enter a new generation.
That was impressive.
You know, I'm glad.
Very impressive. Very impressive. It is a changing of the guard. All these young quarterbacks, they look really, really good.
Patrick Mahomes has surprised me.
He's been a
good.
revelation. I mean, coming from Texas Tech, you don't think that they translate from that air raid offense to an NFL-style offense.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
It's happening. So congratulations to you, Clark. That's all the time that we have for tonight. Congratulations to our winner, Clark Dalton. Make sure to tune in on Mondays at 9:30 for College Press Box to catch up on the latest sports news on the 40 Acres. And tune in with us next Wednesday at 9 o'clock for more College Crossfire. Don't forget to follow at TSTV Sports on social media. And for all the panelists and everyone in studio master control, I'm Jonathan Polasek. Have a wonderful evening.
Let's go, let's go.
Good one.
That's Clark.
Dude,
Thanks.
bro, coming in. Well, that was amazing.
Yeah. Hey, can I post you like a Snapchat story with you? So I can show my